Forbearance, did you take advantage of that during COVID? Let's talk with Michelle about what that means. I'm here with her today. I'm Jane Fish with Greatway Real Estate, and this is my good friend Michelle.oddo with Luminate Home Loans, and she's going to answer some questions for us today.
I'm happy to. Yeah. We're getting a lot of questions about forbearance right now, and people that deferred their payments even up to 18 months are finally finding themselves coming out of those forbearance situations. And there's a lot of concerns. I'm sure that's what you're hearing. Tell me some of the questions that you're being asked.
So one of the questions that was asked of me is, do we owe this up front? Is this a situation where all of a sudden it's coming due and I now have to pay it in one lump sum? Is that a true statement, Michelle? Is that something that they would have to do, or are there other options?
Okay, that's a great question. And I know that that can be a concern for people. So think about it. If you haven't made a payment for 18 months, how much is due at this point? Now, yes, it was interest free. It should not have collected interest during that time. However, that's a big amount of money that someone might owe. You know, it could be 50, 60,000, even 100,000. We've seen big numbers. No, typically you're going to reach out to your servicer, whoever services your loan, and there are options available. Each servicer has a different programs and things that they're offering, but none of them are saying you have to pay that full amount of money upfront right now, or else we're going to foreclose on you. That's just not a thing. We're seeing more of the following scenarios. Either they take the full amount that was past due or that they didn't pay, all those payments that weren't paid, and put it to the back of the loan and make like a separate lien for that, almost like a second mortgage. It will not bear interest, but it will just sit there. And until they either sell that home or refinance, then it would have to be paid at that point. But up until that point, it would just sit there. The other thing that we're seeing is sometimes people are doing what's called like a loan modification. So some servicers are offering where you could put that into your loan and then re-amortize your loan. And we're even seeing up to 40 years to bring that payment down, because you're now increasing your balance on your mortgage quite a bit by adding that on there. And the third thing that we're seeing is just people taking that amount of money that's owed and making like a payment plan for just that portion. So maybe they plan to pay that back over the course of a year or 2 years or 6 months or whatever it may be. So lots of options. Thankfully, most people today have a lot of equity in their home. And I don't know if you're hearing this, but we're hoping that some people will just choose to maybe sell because we need homes for sale. We need listings, right?
Yes. And that's another option is maybe this is a little bit too expensive for you. You got into a property maybe that you took the forbearance because it was a little bit expensive. And because of the equity that we do have in our homes and how awesome Colorado and most of the country is doing, that might be an option, is to go ahead and sell your property, and you can maybe choose something that's a little bit less expensive for you, but use the equity out of that house so that you don't feel like you have to make those kinds of payments.
Yeah, a lot of people bought homes, with one job, and during COVID, maybe they lost that job or they're not able to do that job any longer for whatever reason. So maybe that home is no longer a fit for you. Maybe you'd rather do something different or even move to a different part of town. Yes. So yeah, we're seeing a lot of that. So lots of options. Luckily, what we're not seeing, and I think there was a lot of fear that there might be a bunch of foreclosures. And the reason we're not seeing that is because people do have so much equity in their home and lots of options that they're able to make some sort of an arrangement, whether it's sell, put it to the back of the loan, do some sort of payment plan, do a modification. But definitely options out there so that people aren't finding themselves, oh my gosh, I have to make this big, huge lump sum payment.
And Michelle, when you say modification, would that be equal to a refinance? Is that what you would say, or is that different?
Well, it's sort of like a refinance, which also could be another option where you just go to, a local lender like us and actually refinance that loan. But in addition, a lot of the servicers are offering what's called a modification, where they might take the balance on that loan and the amount past due from the unpaid payments. Now you have one big balance, and then bring the rate down, do some sort of a special deal, and then extend that loan over like a 40-year period to bring the payment down. Okay. Some people might go, well, I don't want a 40-year loan. I don't want to start over. I was down to 23 years. Now I'm going to owe for 40 years. Keep in mind, you probably weren't going to stay in that home for 23 years or 40 years. Yes. You're just getting a manageable payment to maybe ride that home out for another 5 or 10, however long you think you might be there, and then sell at that time. So, and homes are appreciating. Still, we're predicting 20% this year, are the predictions in the Denver metro. So you should be able to outpace anything that you feel like you're going behind on.
Excellent. Well, we really appreciate your time today, Michelle. This is super helpful information. And if you would like to talk with Michelle about some of the options, I would love to introduce you to her. Please look her up.
And I'll have my stuff. We'll put it below.
We'll put our
in
stuff
the
below.
comments.
Yes. And if you're interested in talking with me about what your property might be worth, I'd be happy to do a free market analysis for you. And we can talk about what the best options are, whether it is to sell or whether it would be to talk with Michelle and do something with your loan. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Have a good day.
Of course. Yeah.